Racers, and welcome back to another live stream. I literally just went through this whole video and then found out that something's happened with my headphones for some reason, and you can't even hear what I'm saying. So, gonna have another crack. Today's topic for today's live stream is one exercise all racers should be doing, okay, or all racers should be including in their training. And the reason this is important is because there's a million different exercises out there. Okay, you can do kettlebell work, you can do barbell work, you can do bodyweight work, gymnastics work, cardio work, boot camp, push-ups. Hey Rob, just let me know if the audio is working. Rob, can you just give me a thumbs up? I've had a problem with the audio. If it's working, you can hear me okay. Please give me a thumbs up. Just let me know it's working a-okay. So the purpose of this video is to narrow things down. Okay, we've got a million different exercises. There's a million different things that you can do to help you with your training, help you with your riding, help you with your racing, and ultimately help improve your racing fitness. As great as that sounds, like having all of these exercises to choose from, awesome, Rob, sweet, it's working, good stuff. Beautiful, it's what I like to hear. As great as that is, having a whole heap of different exercises to choose from is you don't have unlimited amount of time to work with. Even if you're a C grader, you've never raced before, or you're a factory rider, you still only have a limited amount of time for training. So the exercises that you use in that time for training need to be the ones that are going to help you the most when you get on the bike. You can't afford to be going training and doing stuff that's at the bottom of the exercise list. You need to have things that are at the top of the exercise list. So the number one exercise, if I just had to pick one, would be the back squat. And the reason I choose the back squat is we can load it up nice and heavy. It's going to use majority of your body at a relatively high load to help build strength. And number three, after you've nailed the initial skills, it's not too hard. It doesn't require like heaps of expensive equipment. You just need a bar and weights and maybe a rack, and you're good to go. So for me, when I first started squatting, I was in my toy room at home. So this is when I was in juniors, and I probably started doing weight training. I was, 10, 11, 12 years old. And we used to have this weight bar in our toy room. And so we'd have this bar. It was just a cheap, shitty bar. It wasn't even like a proper one. It was like, you buy them from Target. It's like a 3-piece barbell. And it has a little Allen key bolts or screws that you put in there to join this bar together. And that's what I had with weights on that you could put on the end. So when I first started squatting, it was more just, I used to get sore legs when I was riding. That was really a big thing for me. The majority of my racing, like all the different grades and divisions or, age groups I raced in, I got to A grade. So my skills were like, obviously skills can always improve, but my skills were reasonable. The thing is, I couldn't be consistent with those skills. That was the real problem for me. And that affected not my speed, but my overall results, my consistency with the speed. So like when I'd go to rough sand tracks like AJS, Coastal, Wanneroo, Juniors, go to Coolum even over in Queensland, especially when the tracks were really rough, we had long motos and I had to be up on the pegs, I had a problem. Okay, I was in survival mode the whole time. So my dad knew this and he was like, okay, well, let's do some stuff to strengthen up your legs. So we had some gym equipment in the toy room that he used to use when he was racing. So I started getting stuck into that. So literally I'm on the carpet in the toy room. There's just a barbell there. There's toys everywhere. There's PlayStation, TV, all the other stuff that kids normally have, a lounge and all that. And there's a barbell sitting there on the floor. So I'd get up 10 minutes early before I had to go to school, or 10 minutes earlier than what I needed to. And I'd go and do my weights in the toy room. Now, when I went and did my weights in the toy room and I was getting this bar on my back, there was a few challenges that I had. First of all was getting the bar up there because I didn't have a rack or anything. And I didn't really know racks existed. I was just like, okay, I'll just lift it up there. So every morning I'm just about killing myself trying to get this bar off the floor and put it overhead and stick it on my back. I didn't know how to do clean and jerks and all that sort of stuff like I do now. So it was pretty ugly. The other thing that started to happen then when I started to do these squats is I get all these different aches and pains. So the first one I had was the bar would be digging into my spine at the back here. I don't know if you guys can, you probably can't see from there, but right, hey Matt, right at the top here, right in that where your spine is going up into your neck, the bar would like really dig into that area. So when I was doing my squats, it wasn't so much of, oh, my legs are hurting or, oh, my legs aren't strong enough. It's like, shit, I don't know if I can handle any more of this weight on my spine there. Like, it's fucking hurting. And then so I stopped doing squatting for a bit because it was getting uncomfortable and it was hurting. So I stopped doing squatting. And then years later, I went back to training at the gym and had a coach and trainer and all the rest of it. When I started doing fitness competitions. And so then I started to have other issues. Then I started getting sore knees. Okay. Then I started getting a sore lower back when I'd start to load it up. And so that was affecting my ability to squat because I couldn't, the purpose of squatting was to get stronger legs for the bike, but my legs were never the issue with the squatting. It was always like my knees are hurting, my back's hurting, my, neck's hurting up here. They were the things that were always the issue. So I always had a problem with them. Now, the thing that I needed to know during that time is that squatting, there's a certain amount of skill required to use a barbell properly and to perform the movements correctly. And it's like riding a motorbike. If you've never had anyone around you that knows how to ride a bike, or you haven't done any coaching or anything like that, you just, like, the natural instinct for a non-rider, a non-racer is, you just get on the bike and you turn the throttle and off you go. But if you're a racer, you know that there's a lot more to it than that. Okay, you got to work on the clutch, you got to work on the brakes, front brakes, back brakes on your foot, not near your hands. Turning the throttle, keeping balance. Sand tracks, keep your body at the back and keep momentum going. Gravel tracks might be the opposite for certain corners, right? Like, you wouldn't know all of these things unless you've done coaching or been around someone that has those skill sets or has those skills on the bike. And that's the same thing with squatting. If you've never been coached for how to squat or how to move, or never looked into it, you just go, okay, well, it's pretty easy. You get the bar, you stick it on your back, and you move your legs up and down. Or, bend at the hips, bend at the knees, and off you go. But then as you get into it, you notice that, okay, now I'm getting sore knees, sore hips, sore back, sore this, sore that. And that's where the skill comes into it. You just need to, there's a certain amount of skill you need to be able to perform those movements without having issues with them, so you can actually get the progress on the bike. Otherwise, you end up like I did when I was squatting and end up just throwing in the towel and going, shit, my body's not cut out for this. Even if you have previous injuries, they might hinder your performance or there might be underlying issues there, but there's always ways to make progress. There's always ways to work around it. There's different forms of squatting that you can use to help you to build the strength that you're after. When it comes to strength, the reason I bang on about strength, and I'll continue to bang on about strength. I've been going on about this since I started coaching in 2014, 2015, and I'll probably be banging on about this till the day I die, unless every rider all of a sudden decides to start watching my videos and lifting some weights. The reason strength is so important is the stronger you can get, the lighter your bike will feel. Okay, and the lighter you can get your bike to feel, the less fatigue you're going to experience, and the less energy you're going to use. The less fatigue that you have and the less energy you use, the longer you can ride that bike harder for. Okay, and I didn't learn this through racing. I learned this at the end of my riding and racing for 14 years. I learned this when I started doing fitness competitions. So when I was doing these fitness competitions, they test you on everything. It could be long distance cardio, short distance cardio, gymnastics movements. It could be body weight stuff, dumbbell work, kettlebell work, weight training, Olympic lifting, power lifting, kettlebell work. If I haven't already said kettlebells, could be running, could be jumping on a rowing machine, going on an assault runner or an assault bike. A whole heap of different things. Okay, doing pull-ups. Test you on absolutely everything. That's the whole point of having a fitness competition, is to test everything that is makes up fitness. And so one of the things that I picked up early on with doing these fitness competitions is the stronger I got, the easier everything else became. So you can imagine, if we're doing air squats, like bodyweight squats, those bodyweight squats became a lot easier when my squat went from 50 kilos to 100 kilos with a bar, right? And I just had, one of our riders just had this experience, not intentionally. When we first started working together, he was in lockdown. And then obviously with Victoria just going into lockdown again, we had to go back into lockdown exercises. So we started off doing bodyweight stuff. And then we've done a few months of really good weight training, really solid weight training. He's got a lot stronger, doubled, tripled his back squat. So we had to go back to bodyweight stuff and doing some of the movements we did at the start. And he couldn't believe the difference in how easy the bodyweight squats felt. And the reason that they were so easy is because his squats doubled. Okay, he's gone from squatting 40 or 50 kilos to squatting 80, 90, nearly 100 kilos now. So all those bodyweight squats got a lot easier. He could just smash through the reps and keep going, and his endurance and stamina was much better because he was a lot stronger, even though we haven't done any bodyweight squats since the start. And so that's what I noticed with doing the fitness competitions. I was like, okay, shit, like all my body weight stuff is getting easy now. Like my push-ups are getting easier because my bench press has gone up. It's like interesting. My handstand push-ups are easier now, or my box jumps are getting easier because my legs are stronger. It's easier for me to rebound up on the box. I was like, okay, cool. But then my gymnastics started to get easier, like muscle ups and things like that. Pull-ups started to get easier because I was a lot stronger. I was like, that's interesting. I haven't even done any body weight stuff and it's getting better. And the other thing that happened is my cardio was improving. And the reason my cardio was improving, if you look at, like, say, a rowing machine, my legs are a lot stronger and my arms are a lot stronger, okay? So when I was pulling the handle, I was pulling the handle with a lot more power, and I was pushing with my legs with a lot more power. So because I was able to pull the handle harder and push harder with my legs, I could get that rower ticking over on numbers I could only dream of before. And because I was able to do that, I had a better base to build from to build my cardio and conditioning because I had a higher work output when I was on the rowing machine. And that all came down to strength. Now, all those other areas of fitness still need to be worked on, but strength is the biggest building block. Is gonna have the biggest transfer and spread over to the most amount of things. Because again, when you make yourself stronger, everything else becomes easier. And that's the ultimate goal with training for you guys as riders and racers. And even for you, Rob, doing BMX, it's the same thing. There's a certain amount of resistance required for you to be able to manual the bike, to be able to jump, to be able to do stunts. There's a certain amount of strength required to move that BMX bike around. Anytime you can elevate your overall level of strength, doing those things in your sport becomes a lot easier. So for like the enduro guys and motocross guys, you've got a 100 kilo bike. Anytime you can get your body weight your body a lot stronger, that 100 kilo bike feels much lighter. And if it feels lighter and easier to move around, you're not going to use as much energy, and you're also going to be able to put the bike where you want it on the track. And this was an experience I had. I still remember the moment at Wanneroo, AJS, which is in the deep sand over here in Perth. And I was riding a 250F, an RMZ 250. It was a bucket of shit and kept having issues with it, even though it was a brand new bike. But anyway, I remember riding around at AJS and getting to a stage with my strength stuff and not even intentionally training for riding and racing. At that point, I just enjoyed the strength work. I was just doing it because I enjoyed doing weight training, not because it specifically helped with my riding and racing. And I remember going out to the track and I remember being able to muscle the bike around. There's this big straight coming up to where there's a quarry jump there. And there was these really rough sections before that you had to hit nailed and flat out on a 250F to make sure you got through the deep sand and the big whoops to be able to jump this quarry jump. And I remember just being able to throw the bike around. I was like, it's such a liberating feeling when you can get to the track and you can just go and ride, right? And just go and race how you want to race. Not get to the track and do half-assed motos. Okay, I'll do a few laps hard and then be fatigued at the end or feel like you're dying, always looking for the last lap board. Like when you can push right to the checkered flag and even past the checkered flag, right? When you're not backing off before the checkered flag or halfway through the last lap, it's a bloody awesome feeling because you can really enjoy your riding and get the most out of it. You're like, wow, like this is a whole new world of racing for me. Now I can push. And you start to enjoy racing a bit more because everyone else starts to die off. You let the other guys die off. You look forward to the end of the race because you know you're going to be able to keep up the pace that you've got. And you know everyone else is going to be slowing up and making mistakes. Whereas when you don't have the fitness, you fucking hate the second half of the race. You hate the last motos of the day. When your fitness is good, you love that shit. You thrive off that. You want the track to be rougher than what it is because you know you're ready to go and you know you've done the work. So really, to summarize today's call is do some squats. Make sure you've got squatting as part of your program. Okay, if you don't know how to squat, learn how to squat. Work with the personal trainer. Watch some YouTube videos. Come and work with me. Whatever it is. Okay, if you need some help, send me a private message, send me an email, let me know what you're working towards. I can see if I can help. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Otherwise, hopefully you got some value from it. And hopefully the audio was good all the way through. And I'll chat to you guys soon. See ya.